Ben and Rook were supposed to be having a day off, with Ben teaching Rook about human recreational activities such as hitting the arcade, when they were attacked by a Tetraman who had the Omnitrix symbol located where Ben's used to be. This was strange, but nonetheless they began to fight them. Ben says that makes 3, this isn't coincidence, and hits the Omnitrix on his wrist, changing into Kickin' Hawk, and began to fight with the 4-armed alien that was in front of them as they came through the large gap. In the building outside, we see a large man in a skeleton armor, spying on them from afar, watching things go down. They continue fighting until another smoke canister was dropped onto them. However, it was a different smoke than before and acted as tear gas, burning their eyes as a red flash was seen, and when it cleared, the other guy was gone. Whomever this was, someone was helping them to escape and training them with the watch, it would seem. Well, to Ben it would seem. The two chat while heading back to base now that Rook's eyes had cleared. The reason Ben's didn't need to be was because when he smelled the gas, he recognized what it was and shut his eyes so that he wouldn't be affected by it as Rook was. Still, they were talking about it, and Ben says that he needed to make a call once back to base. They get back to the base to talk to Grandpa Max about what's been going on, telling him about how he's been attacked by a Lepidoptera and then a Vulpamancer and now a Tetraman, all of which had an Omnitrix symbol on them like he used to, when he could transform into those aliens. Max asked what he thinks that could mean, and Ben suggests that maybe this has something to do with the stolen Omnitrix core from a few years back. He was gonna go call Azimuth to get his opinion about the situation, to which his grandfather said that'd be a good call. He and Rook could take care of Lunch, who was rampaging in the kitchen. Ben sighs and begins walking off, saying only the freshest ingredients, shaking his head. As he went to a communications module, opening a line direct to Azimuth's lab, the Goblin First Thinker tells Ben this better be important, and he responds that it is because he thinks they just found their thief. Telling Azimuth about how he was attacked and how each had an Omnitrix symbol, Ben suggests that someone must have copied the designs of the watch and used the stolen Omnitrix core to get it to work. Though he wasn't able to get a good look at the person wearing it, he was able to tell they seemed human, meaning most likely there was someone else pulling the strings. Azimuth had agreed with that assessment and suggested that Ben try to draw out whomever was pulling the strings, and to keep them posted as to what happens. Nodding in response to that, our hero then cuts the signal and returns to where Max was, telling Rook it was time to go. They then began heading on off to Undertown to do some investigations. We then see them walking around Undertown, with Ben telling Rook to keep his guard up as anyone could be the shapeshifter they are after. Rook slams a citizen into a wooden wall of a stall and scans them, saying that they are clean before letting them leave, and the citizen was grumbling, and Ben asked what he thinks he's doing. The two of them start getting into it about how Rook was acting, and the citizens were calling out for them to fight as Ben was asking if he wanted to start something, and Rook says he's finishing something and turns to walk away. Rook drives past Ben, leaving him behind as Ben just leaves to go ask around. Ben then goes to a bar and looks at the menu, asking for a Rollium Glomungus shot. The bartender says he'll need to see some ID, and Ben holds up something in front of them in response to the question. The bartender then makes his drink and pours something strange for Ben, as he asked about anyone else that may have also been able to change shape like him. The bartender tells him no such luck, only one he's seen that could do that was him, and Ben downs his drink, handing the bartender whatever he had held up as payment for the drink before letting out a sigh and heading off to go and see if he could find out anything from anyone else. The Tetraman with the Omnitrix symbol showed up again, and Ben asked why their boss was hiding, though the large man says that he wasn't hiding, he was studying him. Ben recognized the man as Kyber the Huntsman. Though they had never met, he had heard stories of a hunter who'd collected trophies of the most dangerous prey in the universe. Kyber tells the Forearms guy to stand down, calling them albedo, as he would be taking a turn at handling Ben. They start to argue that Psychobos said, but the Huntsman says that Psychobos isn't here, then charges at Ben to attack, which Ben is able to dodge out of the way, rolling onto the ground before standing up. The two stand up and begin to fight, with Ben hitting the watch, changing into Kickin' Hawk again, and fighting Kyber, holding him off fairly well until Albedo then got involved as well. The Huntsman tells him that Tennyson was his prize to claim. Ben decides something something new would be needed and hits the Omnitrix symbol, changing into Ball Weevil, as he then began spitting out green balls of goo and rolling around on them, collecting debris from the battle before sending them into the two of them and making them explode. Kyber then pulled out a blaster and started shooting at Ben, making the balls he created explode faster than they should, and so he'd run up a pipe to try to get away, with the huntsman still shooting at him. He'd been hit and knocked up onto the street in the process, as he changed back to human, seemingly out cold.